Okay, and here we are. We're going to show how we're going to make a ladder logic with the AutoCAD Electrical. Now we do have the copy, and this is just print screens of what we did with the RX Logix 500. And we have that, but we need to put them into the AutoCAD so we have an editable version of that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start out, going to open up AutoCAD Electrical. So here we are starting out with the AutoCAD, and what we'll do is we'll say we want a new drawing, and we're going to use the AutoCAD Electrical template. So we're going to open that, and we get our blank sheet again. So we go in here, and we'll go to the properties, and we'll edit it. Now for this, the way it works out, it looks like we're going to need two sheets, so we'll call it sheet 1 and sheet 1 of 2. And the title will be Ladder Logic, and for the line title on, or second line, it'll be Automated Parking Garage. And we'll just leave it at that, because we aren't really concerned about that much. Now what we do, what we can do, and we'll get out of here, and here's what that looks like. It's a little too big, but we can take care of that later. So we're going to start out, and we're going to do as we did with the interconnect drawings. We're going to insert a ladder, and we're going to once again put it pretty much a wide scale. We'll put about 1 inch spacing per rungs, and we're going to put 20 rungs on each page. And we'll put it maybe about there. That looks pretty good. And what we'll do is we'll zoom in on here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this. Now all these, we have 3 circuits that are the same, and it's the first level push button, and then we have the timer that activates the parking thing that releases the latch, and then we have the request is latched over here. So we have the temporary push button that's latched over here, and then it's released or unlatched by the activation of the timer. So what we do is we go in here, and for our icon we say we want the icon menu, and we go to the relay and contacts, and what we want first is a normally open contact. Now what we do is we just go to where we want to put it, and we can put it there. Now they're all called CRs, but what we're going to call it is, that is our input, and it's 0/0. And over here for the description, what we're going to do is we're going to put it's first floor request. And so we'll say that's okay, and what we get is we get what input it is and then what the name is. Now over here, what we're going to do is we're going to put in another icon. And it'll be, again, all these are going to be from the relays, but this is going to be a normally closed. And we can put that over here. Now this relay, if we look in our PowerPoint, it's D40 timer, and that's the down signal. So we're going to call that T40, and then we'll use the same nomenclature as in the PowerPoint. And we'll call this directional control valve timer. You zoom out, what we want over here is we want a control relay. So for over here, we go to the icon menu once again, we'll go to the relays, and we'll put in the control relay, and we can put that, we'll leave a little space so we put it there. Now this output is going to be an internal bit, and so that internal bit is going to be B300, and what this is it's first floor request. And we'll just make a note that that's latching. And we'll put OK in there. Anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to put in that parallel rung. So what we do is we go to our icon menu, relays again, and we want the normally open relay. Now we're going to put it right underneath that. Now for this, all we have to do, because we already have the relay coil in place, so all we have to do is just to give it the same identifier. We don't need a description, and we put it in there. So now we put in that relay, and that automatically tags it with being the first floor request. Now to put in the parallel rung, what we need to do is we need to go up to this wire, and we're going to add a wire, and we can just pick a spot, come down, complete it. So now we've got that rung there. Now another nice feature of the AutoCAD Electrical is if we want to trim the wire, all we have to do is select the part that we want trimmed, and it just trims it away. So now what we have is we have our parallel contact in there, and that's the way that it pretty much looks for this. Now, because of time constraints and what we're just stop and carry on, and we'll be back in a minute. The other thing we wanted to point out is that the way the inputs are is we have the name right below the symbol. Now on the outputs we have the name and also some other information to the right of the symbol. So really what we need to do is we need to move everything over from right about here to where these clear this rung. And so what we're going to do is use the scoot command, which is pretty cool. It says one with arrows going all different ways, and if we pull down we say we want to scoot, and then we select what we want to scoot, and then there's this crosshair that will move it where we want. Now you can't do a whole bunch of them at a time, you have to do a single one at a time. But if we do this, then we can move that where we want it. If you hit enter a couple more times, you can select the next one, do the same thing. Hit enter twice, select it, and then move it over. And then we have to go out to our other symbols and do that. And we'll do that, and then we'll finish up with sheet number 2. Okay, so now that we have all that over and moved over, the last thing we want to do is we want to go over here, since we're finished with this drawing, we want to go to Project Manager, and we want to highlight our garage, and then we want to say we want to add this to our active drawing as we did before. It says, do you want to apply the project default values to the drawing settings? Yes. And so now this drawing should be in our garage program, and we can save what we have, and then we can open up a new sheet, and it'll be our new sheet 2. And again, we'll just do the template, we'll open it up, and when we're okay, for the second sheet, when we're doing it, we're going to set up the ladder logic just like we did before. So we're going to put in a ladder, we'll make it the same width, 16.5, and the same spacing, 1 inch. And here we'll start with 20 rungs again. But now what we want to do is we want this reference. Before we started the other reference at 1, and then we had 20 rungs. So now we want to do it from 21 on. And we'll just put it maybe right about there. And so if we zoom in, now we're starting at 21. So this will be 21 to 40. And when we complete that, then we'll be back to finish the video. Okay, here we are almost finished with the PLC program. But right now what we've got over here, what we've got is we've got a counter, we've also got a timer function. And these are symbols that we created ourselves. Now what we're going to do here, we're at the end of the program, and we're right here at this line where we're putting another counter up timer in there. And then we've got one last line to put in. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a symbol. And to build a symbol, what you have to do first is you have to go into the home, And what we want to do is we want to just put in a square rectangle. It wants to be about this size. So we want a symbol there, and then we also want to put some lines on there. And we can put a line there on the input, and then a couple lines, a corresponding line in the same spot, and then we'll have another line on the output. Now after we have the basic template for the size of the thing, we go back into the schematic and we hit Symbol Builder, and it'll say select objects. So this is what we want to select, and if we want an insertion point, we'll pick that point right at the end there. And now this will put us into the builder model, and what we can do here is we can, anything we want, we have to highlight it and then move a tag into position, and this will be one of our tags. Then we'll have a description that we'll put in, and it'll be some type of counter description. We'll put in another description, and this will have something to do with the preset value. And now here we have three leads or inputs to it. And here we go down to the wire connection, and we say we want one on the left. So we have to go to this icon here, which is to insert it. And then we pick where we want to insert it. Then we change around because we want them on the right now. And we'll insert one right there. We'll go down and insert one right there. And when we're done, we hit the escape key. Now we can identify what these terminals mean. And for instance, since this is a counter, this one right here, terminal 01, we can just put as, and these have to be capitals if you want them capitalized. So we're going to say that's count to enable the count. This terminal up here we're just going to say is the counter up pulse, so it's CU, and then the third terminal will be the down pulse, DN. And then when we're done, we can say close the editor, and we're done. Now this will say what the symbol name is. It's horizontal, and this means just generic device DV, and it's symbol number 006. And they say that there's errors in here, but these errors, they say OK. These are things you could put in. You could put in orientation, you could put in layers. We don't need that stuff. And finally we say OK, and they'll say it exists. Do you want to override it? Yeah. And now, do we want to insert it? Yes. And what we can do is, if we want to insert it right about here, so it looks like it's even with the other one. Now we can say okay. Now what it's going, we want to change it because this is going to be counter 5-1, and this is going to be the level full counter. And we can hit OK, and then we have this thing still in there, so we can just delete all these. And now we've put in our counter. Now the thing we have to do here is, because this is taking up 2 spaces here, we just have to trim off the extra wires. So we go to trim wire again, and we just hit that. And now if we want to add a wire to our done, we can add a wire, put it right on the end there. You get a little X that tells you when you're on there. And now that's added in. And finally we've got one last rung, and it's go to our icon builder, relay, we got that. We put it in there. Now this is going to be from that counter, and it's the done signal, and what we can say is level full. And we OK that. And now the final thing is we have an output here. Now we actually don't have this one implemented because there's no way to put it in the output circuitry. But this one we gave it output of bit number 4, and we call it level full. So the component tag is 04, and then we call it and just to distinguish it from the other one, we're going to just call it output. And so that is what our schematic looks like. Now, we originally started with 40 rungs, and we ended up with 33, even though our original drawing only had 18. But a lot of these, like the counters, take up 2. We have some of these parallel tracks that actually take up 3, but then we still have these extra ones here. And what we can do here is we can just trim the wire. We probably want to put one last wire in there. From there, across to there, and then we want to put one last icon in there for our end rung comment. And we can just we'll just call it end, give it no description. And now here we're out of line a little bit. What we can do once again is we can just do our scoot. And there we go. And again, what we've got here is we want to save this. And then for this sheet, we want to make sure we go into our project manager. We'll click on that, and since it's already shadowed, it must be part of our project. And let's see, it's the finale of the ladder logic.